Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I noticed I have a fan from Russia or something. That's pretty cool. Wherever you are, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good middle of the night, whenever you're checking this out. Excuse me. So today we are going to listen to... We might need to listen to another Dream Theater song because there's just so many. And so, since I said it, I may as well do it. I mean, it's ridiculous. I have so many. Let's listen to Scarred. Let's see how long it is. I wonder how long it is. Scarred. 11 minutes. Dang it. Of course it's 11 minutes. Of course it is. Alright, well, I'm not going to complain. I mean, should be nice. Should be cool. Okay, here we go. This is from 94. I was 8? No, I was 7. 7 years old. This almost sounds like Phil Collins. Oh, I forgot my backlight. Nice bass tone. It's a bit fuzzy, but I can hear it. Nice. Is there some tempo stuff going on? That feel change was cool.
I never bet my emotion, my passion always strong. I never lost my devotion, but said where fate went wrong.
Yeah, there you go. Ah!
Can't let them break me again. Your venom's not family here. Won't let them fill me with better, less than remedy.
Nice.
The rest of the world was hopelessly blinded by fear. Where would my sanctity live? Suddenly nobody cares.
I like that theme. That's cool.
It's never enough. You're wasting your time. Isn't there something I could say? You don't understand. You're closing me out. How can we live our lives this way?
organ.
Maybe I leave my head alone.
Ooh.
What if the rest of the world was hopelessly drowning in pain? Where would our self-pity run? Suddenly everyone cares. Lord, heal me.
There you go.
Fear change me. Belief will always save me. Blood swearing, fear staring, conviction made aware. Give up on misery. Turn your back on dissent.
Man, there's some really cool tempo fluidity stuff going on.
Wash your hands of regret. You don't know me anymore. Do you feel I'm afraid of love?
I like that delivery.
And how come you don't want me asking? And how come my heart's not invited?
This is a cool passage. I like this.
Say you want everyone happy. We're not happy. And how come you don't understand me? And how come I don't understand you? 30 years said we're in this together. So open your eyes. People in there for me, everyone there for me. Sometimes I feel I should face this alone. My soul exposed. It caused me to know that I won't.
Nice.
Lord, heal me. Fear change me. Belief will always save me. Blood swearing, fear staring, conviction made aware. Give up on misery. Turn your back on dissent. Leave that distrust behind. Wash your hands of regret.
Uh-oh. It's like Pantera mode. Ooh, whoa. That's so sick. That was so sick. Yeah. There you go. chord progressions. We're hitting the fade out. Nice. That is cool. That was a cool listen. And it was especially cool with the combination of the lyrics, listening along, and hearing the music match the vibe of the lyricism. And that was neat. Let's see how much time I have left on my clip. 5 minutes and 30 seconds, so I may as well start a new clip here before I deep dive into it. Hang on. Let's switch things up here. Click. And then click. Okay. Dream Theater, Scarred. Well, that was cool. I enjoyed that a lot. Just like all the other Dream Theater stuff that I've listened to, it's such a cool, different cascade of sound with each song. You know, Paralyzed felt like a more mainstream, like more modern metal song with Labrie vocals. I think that's his name, right? Right? Labrie. James Labrie. I felt like the vibe of the song wasn't hyper intense. Especially, my favorite passage was that quieter passage that kind of grooved for a bit. That was the coolest part of the song, in my opinion. At least it was the most memorable, and I felt like it catered to Labrie's stronger vocals. Like, it's more impassioned, more calm and somber and quiet, but his delivery just matched the vibe really, really well. Like, everything was very cohesive and meshed together really, really well. I feel like Labrie's mid-range, the la like that, around that range, he's the weakest. But it's not bad. It's not like he's not hitting notes. The tone of it is always just kind of like, okay. I still am able to follow along, and the music is still so good that I'm able to just like bypass that kind of stuff where I'm just like, okay, I don't really like that tone as much as his lower, calmer tone, or even his higher tone when he hits higher notes. He's able to get that kind of 80s glam metal tone behind it, which I think is great. You know, I think it sounds great when he hits it right, and he hits it right whenever he does it. So I could probably listen to this a few more times and kind of really assess it from part to part. But I love that they incorporated a theme. I love that like they were able to just travel from one spot to another. There's actually a lot of it reminded me of some of the stuff that I'm able to write or have written in the past, where they just some of the patterns that they use, some of the chord progressions they use, some of the passages they use, the structure of their songs, I completely understand. I really, really think it's interesting too, because I haven't listened to Dream Theater before, really. I had listened to, I think, like 1 or 2 songs ever in my life, but I've never actually listened to Dream Theater like I have with these videos. And so you guys are getting my raw first impression on Dream Theater, and it's really good. And I'm especially impressed that this is from 94. It sounded like this in 94. They were way ahead of their time, in my opinion. It's unbelievable to hear this and be like, this came out in the 90s? How cool is that? You know, they were way ahead of their time. It's just nice to listen to and appreciate. It's clearly not a modern mix, but it's still so listenable, which is great, you know. At the end of the day, you know, the mix doesn't matter so long as everything's listenable. There's a lot of cool bass lines in there that I could hear, and like I always complain about bass about not being prominent enough, but I could hear it. I could hear it really well in here. And so it was nice to listen to and go, oh yeah, you know, there it is. And I could hear it dance around the parts, and it was doing some cool stuff. And, you know, the guitars had a lot of, like, there's a bunch of different solo passages, and there's some really, really cool shreddy passages. There was a lot of feel changes and a lot of tempo fluidity. Like, it was either like a combination of feel changes, polyrhythms, or tempo changes, but like they were really subtle in the way that it wasn't an immediate tempo drop. It was like a tempo, you know, from here, and it would slowly go down to here, you know, over a bar or two or something. There was something going on there that I was like, whoa, this is cool. You know, this is cool, especially because it grabs my attention. First off, it's 11 minutes long, and it pulls me in. So the fact that it grabs my attention so well and keeps me engaged for 11 minutes without feeling fatigued, they know what they're doing, man. Dream Theater knows what they're doing, and it's just it's cool to listen to. Obviously, the musicianship is on point.
I think my only complaint is Labríe's mid-range vocals. I felt like his mid-range vocals are just slightly subpar compared to the rest of the musicianship. That calmer passage where he says, "Do you feel you don't know me anymore?" Combine that with the higher notes where he was saying... I can't remember which line he hit high notes, but he hit a couple high notes where he was way up here, and he just kind of added that little grit behind his voice. That was cool. I felt like those were the strongest ranges of his voice, and he was able to deliver it with some fire behind it. I just wish there was some more fieriness, in his mid-range. I feel like he kind of sings very plainly. He wasn't ruining anything. It felt like it wasn't quite matching the level at everything else. I'm a vocalist myself, and I understand if not everybody likes my vocals. I've been critiqued plenty. I have a weird voice, so I completely understand. I'm not holding myself to some ridiculous standard. I'm just giving out my own feedback on the delivery. It's not that I could do any better. It's just that when I listen to it, that's what's pointing out in my brain. That's what I'm noticing the most. Man, really, really cool. Really, really cool song. The lyricism was very interesting. And he talks a lot about not only like being hurt from the past, but being afraid of connecting with someone. And who he's talking to, I'm not sure. Well, he kind of goes in and out of talking to someone versus just speaking his mind. Like some of it is poetry, some of it is direct messaging to somebody. So let's just go through it. So he says, to rise, to fall, to hurt, to hate, to want, to wait, to heal, to save. So that reminds me of Ecclesiastes, where there's a time for everything. He kind of has the same lyrical structure where he says, blood, heal me, fear, change me, belief will always save me, blood, swearing, fear, staring, conviction, made aware. That was the chorus right there. That was clearly the chorus. And I appreciated the fact that they included a chorus. It never felt annoying or anything like that. There wasn't much hooks, but it was still very listenable, and I still enjoyed the whole listen. So that was nice. He used some harsh language here where he says, I can't let them rape me again, and your venom's not family here. Won't let them fill me in with fatalistic remedies. It sounds like there's somebody that, well, I don't know if he was physically raped, but there's someone that he's talking to that he knew that is toxic. And perhaps that's what the song is about. What if the rest of the world was hopelessly blinded by fear? Where would my sanctity live? Suddenly nobody cares. So I think he's saying that, where would his hope go? So again, he kind of circles back. There's somebody that hurt him, and he says that this person said that it's never enough. Like, he's never able to give enough to this person. And he's like, isn't there something I could say? And there's clearly nothing he can say to fix this person or remedy this person's opinion of him. I relate to that a little bit. And he says, you don't understand, you're closing me out. How can we live our lives this way? Like, how could we continue to be apart? How could we continue to let this wall between us, persist? That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like he's talking about. And I relate to that too. You tell me I'm wrong. I'm risking my life. Still, I have nothing in return. I show you my hands. You don't see the scars. Maybe you'll leave me here to burn. There's somebody in his life that he has separated from, and whether it be an ex-person or a family member or something, that he can't let back in because of the scars. But clearly he wants things to change. And man, I relate to that. That's for sure. I relate to that. And he even says, like, I'm showing you my hands and you don't see the scars. Are you just going to leave me here? He's trying to express to this person that hurt him, like, that he has been hurt. But it's clear that the person who hurt him doesn't see who he is on the inside. They only see what they want to see. Or a couple stanzas ago, he said, what if the rest of the world was hopelessly blinded by fear? Where would my sanctity live? Suddenly nobody cares. And then there's the dichotomy. The next 3 stanzas says, what if the rest of the world was hopelessly drowning in vain? Where would our self-pity run? Suddenly everyone cares. It's a good little flip. So he flipped it. It's good lyricism because it gets your mind wrapped around
the emotions and the complexity of his own relationships and thoughts around this subject. There's a lot to unpack with this, and I think with an 11-minute song you can unpack a lot. So that's the cool part about progressive music, is that you don't have to simplify your message. You can do something very, very complex and get something very, very complicated off your shoulders through a very, very long song. So that's pretty cool to listen to and go, oh yeah, that's nice. And so he's saying how like nobody cares about holiness or goodness of character, but everyone cares about self-pity and vanity. Those are the colors he's painting there. And I think that's true. He definitely like made a really, really solid point. It's very interesting. He says, blood heal me, and fear change me. Belief will always save me. Blood swearing, fear staring, conviction made aware. So it all reminds me of what believing really means, and how conviction is made aware through belief. Like you're able to spot your own flaws. When you're given the Holy Spirit will convict you of the things that you've either been doing or that you do in the moment, and you go, there's something in my heart that's telling me I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't have done that. That's when change can happen, because you can stop yourself from doing these things. And so conviction made aware, after fear, has been staring at him, he's able to see his own, not only his own scars, but he's able to see his mistakes. He's able to do something about it, because belief will always save him. And it's true. Faith is everything. Give up on misery, and it's such a plain statement, but there's a lot of power behind that statement. If there's toxic people in your life that just want, they say misery loves company. And if there's toxic people in your life and you can't change them, which you often can't, and they're not willing to listen to you, you have to let them suffer in their own misery. You have to turn away from it so that you can lead people out of their own misery. Like if they are trying to just draw you in and hold you down, and you have to stay here with me in my own misery, otherwise, and don't abandon me, and if you abandon me, I'm going to die, or I'm going to be depressed, or I'm going to hurt myself or whatever. You have to stay here with me. And then you are trying to get out of that state of misery, and you're like, we have to go, and they won't let you go. You have to cut that person off. And it's sad because a lot of people do this to themselves. They cut people out of their own lives, and then they end up being very lonely and depressed, when it's like it was their choice to do that. But you have to think about it on the other end, where the people that may have cut you out, or if you had to cut people out, you did that for your own good. If your arm is rotting, you have to amputate it so that the disease doesn't affect the rest of your body. You can apply that same principle to relationships. If there's somebody in your life that is just sucking the life out of you, and you are unhappy all the time when you're around them, and you've brought this to their attention, you've expressed your thoughts, you've expressed your feelings, and it only ends up in arguments and toxicity, you have to cut it off. You have to cut these people off. And so he says, wash your hands of regret. Just stop wallowing in the past. Stop wallowing in your self-pity, which he said. And do you feel you don't know me? This impassioned, this one section is very different. He says, do you feel you don't know me anymore? And do you feel I'm afraid of your love? And how come you don't want me asking? How come my heart's not invited? You say you want everyone happy. Well, we're not laughing. I felt like that was like a direct call to the person that was in his life, that he wants to be in his life. But he's like, why are you so afraid of talking to me? Why can't you engage? Why are you not asking me, what's going on? And do you feel like I'm afraid of you loving me? And I think a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of people feel they don't deserve to be loved because of one reason or another. It all comes from fear and insecurity. They think they weren't good enough. They think this one thing that they did to them, I thought you would hate me forever, and so I'm really, really afraid of moving forward from there, because this scar will always be between us, and I think a lot of people get wrapped up in the mistakes that they've made, and that's kind of what Labrie is talking about here is that a lot of people get caught up in their own past mistakes, and then they block people out and they cut people off that are trying to help them, but they cut these people off because they're afraid of, surprisingly, they're afraid of forgiveness because they feel they don't deserve it. And none of us deserve anything, none of us, like, for the mistakes that we've made, the wages of sin is death. And we all deserve to die, That's the truth, is that we all deserve to die, but we are saved. We are saved through Christ's forgiveness. And I don't know if Labrie's talking about Christ's forgiveness, but there's definitely an underlying message of a truism, if you will, that forgiveness is the path towards light. It's the path towards love. Being able to forgive as well as be forgiven is essential. There's a specific person that he is talking to that he wants to fix things with, a broken relationship. And so that's what this is about. It's about a broken relationship. Sounds like a brother or something. And he says, people in prayer for me, everyone there for me. Sometimes I feel I should face this alone, my soul exposed, but it calms me to know that I won't. It calms him that he knows that he's not going to face these things alone. And I think that's the truth, is that we can find solitude in knowing that none of us are truly alone. You will see that you are not the only one who's been hurt. When he wrote this, I am experiencing the same things that he experienced 25 years ago. There's just a lot of truth all over this. It's very, very nice, very well written. Yeah. So yeah, that was a great song. That was a really, really good song. A very, very well written, really cool message. Very human, very real, very honest. Just the solos were awesome. Everything sounded great. But we have a lot of Dream Theater that we got to listen to. Everyone keeps suggesting more Dream Theater, so clearly I need to listen to a ton of Dream Theater. I just don't want to fatigue you subscribers out there. So we'll listen to some more stuff soon. Not Dream Theater. We'll hit the brakes on some Dream Theater and get some more stuff in the roster. And yeah, cool song. Thanks for suggesting it. We still have 15 other. We have 15 other Dream Theater songs that people suggested, so we'll listen to some other stuff. So I should let you guys know that feel free to comment. I don't want this to be an exclusively Kyle's Opinion forum. I kind of want to set up this React series to be a place where we can all chat about our own opinions about stuff. A lot of people disagreed with me about the Shadow Intent vocalist. I'm not here to be agreed with. I'm just here to share my opinion about stuff, and you guys can come in here and tell me what you guys think and say, oh, I think you can say, I agree with you, or I don't agree with you. Here's why. And we can just chat about stuff. We can just chat about what we like, what we don't like. It's completely open to discussion. So please feel free to chat away if you want to. Cool. I liked it. All right, let's move on to the next one. Peace.